We knew the story was going here, guys. They did find her body, and she was like found in the river. And then I told you, he was like, I went fishing. I just so happened to be out in the water. Yeah. And he told somebody that he was taking her to school that day. And somebody else claimed that they had a video and they saw him drive past that bus stop. It wasn't a stop sign. Sorry, I had messed up that. But I think people understood what I meant. Based on all the evidence the law enforcement has collected, they are in the process of preparing the appropriate arrest warrants. At this time, we believe the appropriate arrest warrant is going to be for capital murder in the death of Audrey, and he is still in jail under unrelated felony charges. They put he, so it's him. So when asked by reporters how Audrey was killed, I cannot speak to that. Okay, he didn't divulge where her body was. Okay, so then they said they used cell phone data and video to help find her remains. Yeah, he was being uncooperative. They were like, where were you that day? And he's like, oh, over here and over there. And of course, he's not going to tell him where. He's going to tell him everywhere else he was, but not there. If he was even at those other places. Then they go, some witnesses said that he was in the community knocking on doors asking have they seen her. He was asking for videos. He's like, do you guys have any video footage? He's probably going to get it and then throw it out. No, he's going to see like whatever he knows. So you don't even think about it. He's dumb. I told you he's a dumb criminal. It's like, I don't even know how you think you're going to get away with this. You're texting, you're typing, you're all over online. You're driving past people's houses that have videos, and he's that, compulsive, impulsive, low IQ perpetrator. He probably dropped out of school. Who knows? His mom's pathetic. Okay, so then it's like he lives in a trailer and sometimes took Audrey to the bus stop. Okay, one of the largest reservoirs in the state. Yeah, that's where they took. Okay, so then okay, McDougal hasn't told investigators whether he dropped Audrey off at the bus stop Thursday. I do believe that he is our number one person of interest. He didn't. They had video. So he's like, so if he says he did, then he sets himself for a lie. If they actually had the video, like somebody said, because he's like, yeah, I dropped her off at the bus stop. And then it's like, oh, how come on this video you just drove past it? There was enough in it to lead us to believe strongly that it's Audrey's backpack. Okay, yeah, because it probably had her name in it. Okay, so then there was another story that came out, which was also annoying. Okay, so Fox is out looking for all the victims of his. He has a lot of victims, by the way, a lot. Nobody could tell me they looked at this guy and thought he was a nice guy, but listen to these people. This was ridiculous. They go, man violently attacked by person of interest, in this case. So they go, wait, he has an extensive criminal history with multiple violent convictions, and some where I guess people didn't even report it. This guy's like psychotic, and you would know it looking at him. I mean, you don't need much, okay? In 2010, he was convicted of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. From Brian the Third, that was a victim in this case. And and this actually goes perfectly when I'm talking about how they cockfight, this whole thing. So beyond them, harming and sexually abusing everybody and raping everybody, they are a danger to other men as well, right? Because they cockfight. Okay, so it says we work together at a quick what? Okay, we worked together at a quick car in Crosby changing oil. He seemed an all right guy. He'd come over to hang out with me and my friends every now and then things went south with those. He says one night after drinks at his house, McDougal tried to attack Brian with a knife, just like, I guess, randomly. He got drunk one night and we threw him out of the house, and he came back with a knife and slashed tires, tried to stab me with a knife, and I had to run him off with a gun, and the cops finally came out with dogs and got him. He said the moments were very intense, terrifying. It really was. He seemed like a nice guy, but he got this whole other side to him that no one seemed to know about until now. Are you kidding? He running around the swastika and he's part of a neo-Nazi thing and he's like totally crazy. Like even when they were talking to him, like looking for, I don't know, they were questioning him outside. He totally looked like that typical like meth head dude, and he's just like, oh my God, like you wouldn't want to like even be near him. And this guy, he's a dude. He's like, he seemed all right. I'm scared about this guy. Like, who are you? I was like, if you look at him and think he's an alright guy, I don't know, maybe you're a little scary too. He's like, officials say McDougal is a family friend, and then he lived on a trailer on the property. Okay, so then they said, Brian says he wishes he would have used his right to defend himself differently. I wish I would have shot him. Okay, this isn't. Okay, yes, you're gonna be just as bad as this dude. Um, what should have happened is that he should have been kept in prison because he was not okay in the head to be let out to begin with, and he'd been in trouble so many times, you guys, and he was in trouble with kids, and they didn't, for some reason they didn't put it as a sex offender thing because that's how serious they really think that is. Okay, that's the truth of it, and mostly when you go back in history, it really shows because those things are earlier cases. So he's like, that's my one regret. I didn't want to do it then because it would make you feel bad. But looking back, maybe I should have. With all the allegations against him, he's not a nice guy apparently. Something is wrong with him in the head. There's something wrong with every guy in the head running around raping us as kids, okay? And killing and all this stuff, being violent. And you're being violent because you're asking to shoot him. I lost my daughter and she was 7 to cancer. So I know how it is. And there, right here is even worse because there's no closure. I hope she's alive and well somewhere because losing a child is, like I said, nothing compares to it. Um, he says that he could personally relate with the family. Okay, first of all, the only person that I actually feel bad for in this story right now is the mom, if she totally had nothing to do with it, because she was like literally wanting to see her daughter, which she was like held from not being able to do. And the dad's the one that should be totally, honest to God, in this case, I was like, no, it's a neglect. It's something here. So if he was that dangerous to an adult male, you guys let him around a little child. You know what I mean? There is a neglect here. And these parents, this is where this area is. They need to get busted. They need to start getting busted for this crap. And maybe they should have a new thing where the parent, like maybe the mom, where it helps her out more instead of doing this game. Because just the general text of that guy, I'm telling you, that was like an alert from hell. And it should have, there should be a whole process here with this. It's just an area that hasn't been tackled, and it needs to be. Some guy going, he seemed like a nice guy. Yeah. I show this guy's picture. Do you guys think my MO that I think that he was trying to do is off? Because that's what I'm saying. The stories that I just read the one story, but I read multiple stories like that where he was acting out in that way. And I was like, I think he was going to try to murder the mom. I honestly think his setup originally in his head was like, get the mom out here in the middle of nowhere where no one's at, and don't bring that guy around because she don't like him. That was the other thing about it. The little girl hadn't even met her man. And he was trying to tell her, oh, she doesn't like him or something weird. And she's like, she hasn't even met him. Like, what? I mean, maybe she was thinking in her mind because they were telling her all these nasty things about them that maybe then that's why she would say something like that. But she didn't say it. It was him. And so I think that the MO was, let me get her out here. I'm going to murder her. And then they're going to be both missing. And we'll say that she ran off with her. She probably kidnapped her. That's what I'm thinking because he's so stupid. I mean, the only turn of events, if they turn around and be like, I mean, the mom wouldn't have any MO to kill the daughter. Why would she kill the daughter? The mom was being extra cautious in the conversation that if she was worried that the convo was going to be, it could be, pulled out by the cops, that she wouldn't be talking at all about meeting or any, I don't know. It just doesn't, it wasn't coming together like anything like that. At least for me, and I don't see where she would have been part of any murder of her daughter. It was really it was caring. Like, I was just listening to it. I was like, yeah, let me put myself in her shoes here for a moment. And he was being weird. He was the one being weird. It wasn't even like they're on the same level. Like, we're going to be talking like, like sometimes you'll see these cases where they're both involved and they're trying to do a plot. And then they're kind of like hint, like they'll do this like weird thing. No, it was more like, how about this? And he's like, oh, we don't have to do it. Like, he does this thing when she mentioned the guy. And I was like, see, they're not in it together. Because why would he start going backwards when the guys mentioned there was this thing about it that I was like, oh man, no. That's what makes me go, did he do something ahead of time? Because it's almost okay, so the action, what he's doing there is almost something that somebody would do after the fact to me, because it's like, okay, now you're being total ultra obvious because you just randomly just started talking to her and going, okay, can we oh yeah, she wants to meet you, you know. Oh, what a terrible thing to say, because if she's already dead, then you know he's basically saying, oh, she wants to meet you, and he's gonna like, you know, do that to her. I don't know, that's why I'm questioning him, like, was she actually alive in the morning? People are like really stressing, like, yeah, she was. And I'm like, I don't know. I go, his actions right there are acting like she wasn't. And he's trying to do a cover up. Like, he's trying to do the cover up already. I don't know, you guys, but the whole thing was bad. So he could have just took everything out and did what he did. And then maybe there's a combo of things where she's, I don't know. There's a lot to it because that guy's psychotic. Um, yeah, that's my question in it. I'm like, unless you could see her walking, um, or in a video moving, it doesn't mean she wasn't alive if you see her in a car. I don't even want to get into that, but, yeah, I don't know. I question it. I question it that night when she'd be talking to the mom. And then it makes that comment that he said to the mom even more extra creepy by saying, I'm her favorite person and she would never tell. That's exactly what he said. And I'm like, oh my God, what if he's sitting there and she's not alive? You know, and he's saying this. If you think about his brain, he's out of his mind. He was always out of his mind though. It's not a thing where you go, oh wow, he seemed nice for a few minutes. He seemed, and then all of a sudden he got crazy. It's like, no, he was crazy beforehand. And the fact that you men cannot pick it out tells me that you're all crazy. Because I'll tell you in about 1 second, that guy is a rapist, that guy is scary, and he wants to be scary, and you want to stay away from him. Man, if we can make anything positive out of this case, because it's so damn horrible, number one, these crimes are sex crimes. There was another crime, too, that was a sex crime, and they didn't even consider it a sex crime. This guy was running around shoving stuff up his butt and then putting it back in the store. And I'm like, okay, so he's having a sex act with himself. And they didn't even get him in trouble for a sex crime. They called it public mischief or something stupid. He's a sexual criminal. Yes. Okay, so on this case, what was one of the problems? Okay, one of the problems is a felon is around this kid and he has things against children, regardless if there's a registered sex thing or not. That's a child neglect. Okay, there's a thing here, endangerment. Okay, we need to get this area cleaned up because I said I've had this problem with other individuals around kids, and I can't do anything unless they kill them or unless I watch them touch them. It's ridiculous. This area right here. Another area is I don't know how he was able just to be out. Some bullshit in that. He shouldn't have been let out. And he also should have been on the registry, yes. Even though I don't really find the registry itself as a thing that anybody really goes on. They want them on the registry, but for the most part, like, it doesn't, you may not know they're on it, or it doesn't do much. I mean, you can get them arrested if they're around kids, if you see them. I mean, I guess the additional thing, but they're out, okay, so they could do whatever, and so, I don't know if that's really going to be the stopper in this, in the total problem here, so, but yes, that should have been on him, and then, I don't know. Like, I don't understand how he was set free because he has so many stories of him, like, attempted murder. Like, the stories were just crazy. It was just like, oh, he's in a car, and then all of a sudden he starts beating the hell out of somebody with a pipe. And I'm like, for what? What is that about? Yeah, so he starts doing crap like that. And then this new story where they're like, he was acting bad and we kicked him out. And then he came back with a knife to stab everybody. Like, he wants to get like that, right? So he's not a person that can be out in society. So, I mean, there's all these, like, indicators that this person needs to be locked up. He's not okay in the head. And he's harmed kids. So he's going to harm everybody. So, He's not a fixable person, and that's that. Could it have been avoided? Hell yeah, there was a couple things here. I'm just saying we need to make this into a positive. And again, that area with them being around a bunch of felons and that and this other thing, and you can't. The parent here is responsible. The dad here is responsible, and they're a bunch of neo Nazis. This thing should not be with kids. If an adult wants to do that crap, okay, but I have a problem with all this stuff. Every part of it. We're just talking about all these child abuse things and everybody's a hot mess. Maybe make it easier for people to report that. I just know that if I report it, if this happened to me, right? And I see this guy saying that bullshit and I go to a cop, they're going to sit there and go, what, he didn't do anything? I don't know. And they'd be looking at me going, why are you trying to meet? Or they would turn it into a thing on me, and they would see no wrong with an adult male on a kid. They just don't. They just don't. Otherwise, they would arrest them all. And this area right here has been a long time problem, you guys.